welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Court here on a Wednesday. And yes, Tony's favorite day of the week, not just because the Mets did win yesterday.
That's right.
But because it is hump day. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty freaking good. Obviously, hyped for the Mets. Huge game one win yesterday. Again, one of those just crazy games, dude. Everything that happened, the Iglesias, the dig out, slide to first, keep the inning going. Sevy not looking great by any means. But again, the Mets seem like to find a way in these amazing ways to win games. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited for game 2 tonight.
Yeah, I can only imagine the excitement is through the roof, and it just kind of ironic in this series. Like, some former Yankees playing roles. Obviously Severino getting the start last night, and on the other side of the diamond today, Montas getting the start.
How about it, dude?
Harrison Bader I saw coming late for defense yesterday as well. So kind of interesting how they're playing a role.
Oh yeah,
and we'll get to the breakdown of the game, but I know for me, I mean, maybe you want to say because it was 6 innings that part was a little surprising. But at the same time, that was exactly what I would say best case scenario, what I had anticipated out of Severino. So like runners on early,
right,
scrambling, battling. I mean, was it kind of what you thought you were going to get?
I mean, not really.
You thought it was going to be better.
I didn't think he would start out so rough. I guess I could say that because at the end of the day, I mean, his line obviously let a lot of hits, not a lot of strikeouts, but 6 innings, 3 earned runs over those 6 innings. I mean, in terms of like giving the Mets an opportunity to win the ball game, I mean, he did that. Especially when you think about like at the 4th inning, it looked like he was done.
Right.
And he comes back out there for 2 more innings. Mendoza kind of edged him on the diamond again, for those extra 2 innings and was able to stretch him out. So, I mean, like, I would say at the end of the day, he kind of turned it around at the end.
Well,
so
he's just fortunate that the Mets in general have been hitting because if you look at all the other games yesterday, they were the only team that scored more than 4 runs.
Which is wild.
You think about it in that perspective. Everywhere else, I mean, chunker.
Yeah, I mean, we said it,
clunker,
I mean, like runs will be at a premium in the playoffs. And then not to mention, like, look at the series against the Brewers. The Mets just had runs were also at a premium. Them hits were at a premium then too. So, I didn't exactly anticipate, I guess, obviously the way the game would end up, with that rally in the 4th and stuff like that. And obviously didn't call the Mets, scoring 8 runs either. But hey, man, that's what makes them a great team. And you got to be happy with this stuff no matter what.
And it's funny. You wouldn't think I would know this because obviously, I'm not intently watching these Mets games, but I'm just curious I'm sure you will say this, but I just, what you believe the turning point in the entire game, one specific play.
The turning point in the entire game? I mean, for me, it was probably the Iglesias hit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was just ridiculous, dude.
Legging it out.
Yeah, dude. Diving to first base.
I mean, the Brewers win the game if that doesn't happen. Because
I
mean, what did they score? 5-6 runs after that?
They scored 5 runs with 2 outs, dude. Yeah, dude. Like, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Certainly a catalyst. Yeah, dude. It is dope to see that from someone like Jose Iglesias, who's having a great year for the Mets.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. I mean, he has kind of kept it up. I mean, they were talking about the numbers yesterday. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah, no, it really is, and it just seems like he's always doing something in a big spot as well. Obviously, we know the power isn't there at all, but his average certainly is. So you gotta appreciate that, dude. He gets some great contact.
And let's get to the comments. The one, the only Tony.
Josh B, dude. He
Josh
says, "What
B.
is up, fam? You and I, Josh, will be talking a little bit today about
Yes,
this
the
Sunday.
breakfast
Yes, dude.
sandwiches,
The agreement.
the
Okay,
agreement,
dude. Yes.
the alcohol.
Yeah. Sunday is getting closer. He says, baseball is fun. LOL. I don't really know why there's an LOL in there. I don't really know what the deal is. Good games yesterday. Hashtag TC. Hashtag sports. Hashtag DTV.
And let me just echo those sentiments, Josh. I cannot wait for Saturday night to be in the building, Game 1, Yankee Stadium. So fired up for that.
In the building, dude. Speaking of in the building, Kev Dude Taylor says, let's go.
Kevy Dude.
We want the smoke. Let's effing go Mets. Tony, how does it feel to be a Mets fan? It feels great right now. Kev Dude, that's for sure. Matty Ryan, go kick rocks, brah. But really, I mean, I think, I forget what the stat was. I think it's every wild card teams. Right? I think it's every single time since they did the 3-game series that the team that wins game 1 wins the series, I should say, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they said yesterday.
Okay, I know I saw some example of something, but I thought
some example of something.
I'm trying to think of what it was. There was something where it was like, maybe it was just out of all the times that there's been this series that 14 out of 16 were 2 games.
Okay,
sweeps.
Yeah.
So I guess that would kind of line up with what you're saying.
So think about that, dude. Obviously, you feel pretty good. Speaking of feeling good, Matthew Gabriel says, "Let's go,
Matty boy."
Michael Bucktis, let's go, dude. The VP debate was amazing, dude. With the fire emojis, let's go, dude.
That in, thinks he's gonna get some reaction.
Absolutely not, dude. My mother. Good morning. Going home today, she says, exclamation point. Wednesday, they're going back home from AC, dude.
I mean, I'm sure an amazing trip. Did they have to rent a car for the Brinks truck?
Yeah.
Brinks cases.
Gotta back in the Brinks truck, dude. I'm sure, dude.
To pay the bill.
Let's see, dude. Michael Buckton says next summer he's gonna be relaxing in California, beaches with a beer in my hand after I graduate. Dude.
I mean, hey, that doesn't sound like a bad thought.
I mean, listen, you stay focused, Michael. Keep your head in the books. All right, you'll graduate. You'll get there. Don't you worry, dude. Kev Deuce says it's funny. Brian had to mention something with the Yankee to take juice away from the Mets. Shaking my head.
And honestly, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong here, Tony, but that actually wasn't, what the intention was. I just thought it was just ironic that they were part of the game. And then plus the late game, I mean, you had 2 guys that were like the stars of the show and King and Higashioka. So it's just funny to see that because we haven't really seen that recently.
No, yeah, that's true.
And I could say easily, and we'll get to it, Michael King, I would say, is probably the best player, pitcher, hitter that was on the Yankees that went to another team and has just had success.
Hands down.
I mean, ERA under 3.
Yeah.
Over 200 strikeouts this year for San Diego and
that's
winning
ridiculous.
A very important game last night, dominating.
And that's not like, I mean, yes, this is his best year for sure, but he's shown like even when he first left the Yankees, like he still was solid for for the Padres. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And yeah, it is interesting because I feel like a lot of like more often than not recently you would see like players go to the Yankees that are on like the ender part of their career rather than
then
vice
when they
versa.
Go somewhere else, I mean, it's like completely
travesty.
cooked.
Yeah, completely cooked.
But what a job, and we'll get to that.
Absolutely, Kev. This is 88%. By the way, they mentioned it on the broadcast last night. 88% for the game 1.
Going 2 games.
Going 2 games.
Yeah.
Okay, 80%. And then Kev says, "What's up to Buckta, dude?" Matthew Gabriel says, "What up, Kev? Do?" And he has Michael B, the California King himself. That's for sure. Michael Buckta, excited to see his friend Kev Do as well, dude.
And we'll throw him a bone. Yes, Michael, I have rented a car in California multiple times. Just
multiple times.
Just so that information's out there. So a lot to get to. So we're mainly going to be talking baseball today, but before we do that, let's just take a look at, we have another PGA Tour fall event starting tomorrow, Jackson, Mississippi, the Sanderson Farms Championship.
Mississippi.
And this course, par 72, 74-61. And the tournament record 2012, Scott Stallings, 24 under, defending champion in the field, Luke List, 66-1. So they're not exactly expecting him to go back to back, but He won last year, 18 under par in a 5-way playoff. And actually, around enough, Scott Stallings was one of the guys he beat out in that playoff, as well as Henrik Norlander, Ben Griffin, Ludwig Aubert. Mackenzie Hughes won in 2022 at 17 under, also in a playoff over Sepp Straka. Sam Burns won at 22 under in 2021, 1 stroke clear of Cam Young and Nick Watney. Sergio Garcia won at 19 under in 2020, 1 stroke clear of Molinari. Sebastian Munoz, 18 under playoff over Sanjay Im 2019. And lastly, Cam Champ defeated Corey Connors by 4 strokes, 21 under par 2018. The winner last year got 1.476, a little down this year, 1.368 million. So we've seen that in a couple of tournaments. I guess maybe they're taking purse away from the lower end tournaments and giving it to the higher end. And, you know, there are some golfers that have won events before and that are somewhat notable. So kind of going by the odds here, and everybody, this is how you know this is a wide open tournament, Tony. Everybody is 22 to 1 or greater to win this tournament.
Let's go.
The 3 guys coming in at 22 to 1. So I guess the co-favorites as far as Vegas is concerned, Keith Mitchell, Maverick McNeely, and Mackenzie Hughes. I think probably who I would say is probably the most talented golfer / playing the best right now would be Nick Dunlap. He comes in at 25 to 1, as well as Seamus Power. You have Patrick Fishburne at 28 to 1, JJ Spawn 30 to 1, Steven Yeager 33 to 1, Johnny Vegas, who snapped that I think it was 8-year winless drought with a win this past season, 33 to 1, Matt Kuchar 40 to 1. And then you have Mac Meisner, Tony, 50 to 1. And how about this? Ricky Fowler, I mean, he only had 1 top 20 last year. So a very disappointing season after really having a rebound season the season before, 66 to 1. So no type of form to go from. Last time he played, he finished 71st at the Open Championship in July. But boy, is that tempting. Just, I don't know, a rebound, a weaker field, and just the fact that he had such a bad season last year. And you feel in terms of accomplishments really far ahead of anyone else in this field. I mean, Lucas Glover is also 50 to 1 as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, just the fact that, you know, he really struggled last year. You know, and we've seen him at his best as recently as 2 years ago. Kind of to me seems like if you were going to take a stab here, that would be kind of the direction you'd want to go in terms of a long shot. No,
in terms of a long shot, yeah, I guess so. But I don't know if I really trust a lot of these like long shot players at the bottom of the field here. But I don't know. I think it could be kind of interesting.
But just for
argument's sake,
yeah. So I mean, if you had to pick between Fowler at 66 to 1, Lucas Glover at 50 to 1, or Matt Kuchar at 40 to 1, which one would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Lucas Glover.
Yeah.
I want to say I'll mix in there, man. I feel like this year he's had a couple spurts of like looking pretty good. Did he have any wins this year? I feel like he was at least like in like
he was in the conversation way more than Fowler.
Oh yeah, certainly way more than Fowler. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you would know more than I, but I just feel like Glover this year played a little bit better golf. I mean, maybe that's why he has better odds to win. But
yeah,
I feel like I would go with Lucas Glover.
Is it over for Fowler? Like, you think he wins again or
wins a major?
No, a tournament.
A tournament. Yeah, I think so. I think he can pull
by
one
something
out,
like this, but you're not expecting it to be this week.
No, I don't think so.
Last, would you rather both 125 to 1, Joel Damon or former Ryder Cup captain Zach Johnson?
I think I'll go Joel Damon.
I mean, maybe he lays off the bottle this week. He wants to get that world ranking up. I mean, this would be the type of event that he would win.
Yeah, maybe not lay down the bottle, but maybe just like bring it back a little bit. You know,
you think it's tough for him to, complete abstinence?
Yeah, I would think so. And again, maybe just like a little to take the edge off is fine. But yeah, dude,
one career win. I mean, why not add to the collection, right?
Why? What do you think? Your take?
I think Zach Johnson, and he's probably not going to win, but I just think he's, even at this point in his career, is a better golfer. I mean, 2-time major champion. Wow. Michael, riled, goats, Ricky all day.
He does like riled. Ricky.
So there you go.
I don't know though. You think he's going to win a tournament?
Do I think he's going to win a tournament? Yes, but it might, it might not be for a little bit. But could I see him winning like the Bermuda Butterfield? Maybe, Tony. But I think that's a good place to start. Just in terms of, we're talking about winning. Winner, sleeper. What do you got?
All right. So my winner, I'm gonna say is gonna be Steven Yeager. Okay,
the Jägermeister, consistent, right?
Exactly, dude. Someone's I've picked as as a sleeper in a few tournaments. And I think he has one win, if I recall correctly, Brian. I believe it was the Texas Children's Open.
Okay.
That he won
this season.
This year. That was just one win this year. But other than that, I mean, not that he was always in the conversation, but he's always like hovering around top 20, top 25, it seems. Not many cuts, not many like outside of that. So I just feel like in a tournament like this, with this type of field, he could probably work his way into the conversation. And again, this guy has stepped up a couple times. So let's freaking go, dude. I give me Steven Yeager. I'll say he will take it again. Maybe middling around the top 10, whatever, maybe day 3 here. He shoots like, I don't know, maybe 5 under or something like that, puts him in the conversation for Sunday, and he will win this tournament. I'll say maybe 17 under at the end of the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that seems kind of in line with what we've seen historically here. And now what about on the other side of things here as a sleeper?
As a sleeper, I mean, I guess give me Gary Woodland. Why not, dude?
There you go.
Give me Gary Woodland as a sleeper. It's actually pretty interesting. I've been watching a lot of footage of Gary Woodland because one of my students has been doing some of his homework on Woodland, and they cut like VOs and short clips videos and stuff like that. And obviously it's all Gary Woodland like highlights and stuff. So I've been seeing him make some pretty crazy putts and stuff. And obviously the grizzled vet at the age of 40, didn't have any wins this year. No top 10 finishes either. So you could say, Brian, that he's due.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And what a story, coming back from that brain tumor. So as my winner, I'm going to go Nick Dunlap. Nice. I just think, he should be favored. I know he's second in odds here at 25-1. But I just think he has the most potential of anyone in this field. We saw him outduel Meisner, in Tahoe, earlier this year. So I think he'll win this. I'm going to give him 20 under. I think he has the best tournament of his short PGA career up to this point. Give him the trophy. And then, in terms of a sleeper here, I'm going to go Matt Kuchar, 40-1.
Wow.
And I think really had a pretty good year this year.
Wow.
Showed up at some events, almost won one. But was lurking. And I think an event like this, an easy course, I could see him pulling it. So maybe worth a shot at 40-1, but also, I mean, even, a couple shekels, Tony. I mean, $10 on Fowler to win this, and that's your 660. I mean, might be worth a step.
Yeah, I would think so, right? I mean, $10 gets you what?
660.
That's actually great, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's like even the 5 for 330 sounds pretty good.
Really, dude.
A couple shekels up there could be a nice payday.
So, we'll have to see what happens, and we'll see what the leaderboard looks like tomorrow. But in terms of TV coverage here, Golf Channel for the duration of the tournament, Thursday 4 to 7, Friday 4 to 7:30, Saturday 4 to 7, Sunday 3:30 to 6:30.
All right, so you get some good coverage in there.
Yeah, and then you also, I'll have to look more into this, but it's saying PGA Tour Live just Thursday and Friday, but I would think that would be extended to the weekend, but maybe not. ESPN Plus, a lot of college football games. I'm going to have to go secondary source on that, Tony.
Yes, that's good.
So yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
College football getting in the way, dude.
Any juice for the college football for you this weekend, Tony?
No, not really, dude.
I think there's a couple good games. About to
really
take a look.
I don't know, dude.
Come on.
Sacred Heart's playing Saturday.
Hold on, I just want to see something.
Double check the sources,
Yeah,
cross-referencing.
double check. I think it's because of the college football. I mean,
that's tough, dude.
I mean, you'll have the cut, so I mean, there's enough TV coverage, to get you through.
What are you more interested in, the golf or the college football at this point?
Honestly, yeah, college football right now.
Okay,
now.
But like, if Dunlap was like ripping it, like you'd be like kind of riled and you tune in, or
I think. I'll be into Black Desert in Utah next week just to see the course. But Sanderson, Mississippi, I don't know. Unless I'm going to an Ole Miss game, I don't know about that.
All right.
Right? I mean, there's just too much going in the baseball.
We're not even talking baseball right now, dude.
But I'm just saying, Tony, there's a lot of other options right now. But we'll keep a mindful eye out. And there is some good college football this weekend. Just to give you a sense here, Tony. Number 9 Mizzou at number 25 Texas A&M. That's a 12:00 game on ABC. Ohio State. That's at 3:30 on CBS. You also have Auburn, Georgia, 3:30 on ABC. Clemson, Florida State. Florida State's struggling so far. And then Michigan and Washington. So rematch of the national championship game in Washington. And right now, unranked Washington already 2 losses, but they are 2.5-point favorites in that one. Kind of interesting. But that's really, I mean,
UCLA, Penn
USC
State
at Minnesota. UCLA, Penn State, yes, but Penn State 28-point favorites there. Louisville, SMU, maybe, Tony.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Would you take that bet for Penn State to cover?
28
UCLA,
points. Chip Kelly. 28. I just don't like big spreads, but
I know,
if
it's
I
terrible.
had to do one or the other, I mean, I don't want to take UCLA plus 28. Definitely not.
Okay,
So
interesting.
some juice there for you, Tony, just to give you a sense.
Yeah, I guess so. I like Auburn. Auburn's cool.
Yeah,
I've met their head
24
coach.
points underdogs. I'm trying to think of the head coach there.
Forget his name, dude.
When did you meet him?
I was filming a college football conference in Alabama, and a bunch of college football coaches were there. Nick Saban was there. He spoke. Kentucky's coach was there. Auburn.
Hugh Freeze?
Hugh Freeze. That definitely wasn't him.
How long ago was this?
3 years ago.
Hugh Freeze has been here for 2 years, so it was right before.
Yep.
And I think that was Gus Malzahn. Definitely was. It definitely was Gus Malzahn. I'm positive.
Yeah, that was him.
There you go. How about that, Tony? Huh?
Arthur Gustavo.
So we'll keep an eye out on the football. As the season progresses here. And I believe we got a couple more comments.
Yeah, of course we do. We always have some sweet comments. So we have Steph was in the house talking some shit here. This is Binge Buddy Steph.
Yes.
Says Matthew Ryan, stop hiding. Take your medicine, dude.
Now,
very interesting.
Now, is she a Mets fan?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
But did you guys like go over with her situation, or this is just from her watching the show?
It must be just from the tunage.
Okay,
yeah,
that's kind of hilarious.
It is actually freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And Matthew Ryan, of course, lurking. I'm not hiding. I was cutting the grass. Mets are a scary team. How about that though? Early in the morning, dude. The morning dew probably still out there cutting.
Do you think he's actually cutting grass, or he's smoking grass?
Well, maybe he's smoking the grass while he's cutting the grass, dude. And then, of course, he comes in here after, of course, smoking the grass. Let's go Brewers, LOL. Just rooting for them so the Mets don't make it to the World Series. So the Yankees have a huge chance of winning it all. How about that, dude?
Would you look at
the Mets, Tony? The only team he fears in the MLB playoffs.
And
Josh B says, get him, Steph. Let's go.
Wow. So
Josh B knows it. He's fed up.
Juiced up, jacked up, ready to go.
Juiced up and jacked up.
And speaking of that, let's go to the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it! Yep. And Alonso cracks one. The Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Too deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. Let's
really
freaking go,
baby.
That is right, Brian. They really are jamming it in here. That is the Mets jamming in some victories, dude. As we were saying before, they won. They beat the Brewers game 1 of the wild card series, 8-4. In what was a very dramatic victory, and what has been how the Mets have been winning games. You go in there, you think you're doubting them. You really want to lay down the picture coming into even, I mean, it doesn't even really matter. The Braves, even just this wild card series in general, the way they played against the Brewers over the weekend, even the way they started the series against the Braves, the rainout, the doubleheader, how they won that game. I mean, you look at some of these wins, you look at how the Mets are getting to these outcomes. And I mean, it does really feel like something, dare I say, special is happening in New York. And I'm not like one of those Mets fans that like immediately is like, dude, because obviously, I've lived how the seasons end typically for the Mets. So I'm always just like trying to just take a deep breath. Next game here. Okay, there's 2 games left. Anything could happen. Doesn't really matter. But I mean, in the moment of the game yesterday, I was watching this during Binge Buddies and before, obviously. Just such a tremendous game, dude. It really, I mean, it had me out of my seat as some of these games have had for me. And I mean, how we got there was nothing short of exciting, dude. We said at the top of the show, Luis Severino came in here, and I mean, say what you will about the umpire and what his strike zone was. I mean, that's the name of the game. The ump was calling it, I guess, somewhat consistent. So, I mean, you really can't complain. And again, I mean, like, the Peralta is pitching against the same umpire, pitching with the same umpire we are. Like, there wasn't any, like, I guess, egregiously blown calls one way or the other. Doesn't really matter, though. Sevy comes out there and just gets absolutely, like, hammered right away in the first inning. But not good at all, dude. And I mean, when you really want to, I mean, the line, again, we talked about it, not great, but also at the end of the day, pretty solid. And I mean, just to go off that, because Peralta had a 1-2-3 top of the first here. But here comes Severino. I mean, let's off a leadoff double to Terang, a 6-pitch at bat. One of those where it was just like, again, like we typically know, Sevy comes out here, hammers his fastball. It's hitting 97 on the gum, but it's getting fouled off, keep throwing it. And then eventually Terang gets that double to lead off. Chiriot, first pitch cutter up in the zone. Quick hands, gets to it. Chiriot singles to left. Contreras up, then first pitch sinker. Ropes one to right, scores Terang. Just like that, you have runners first and second. Mets down 1-0. Things are looking pretty ugly for Severino. Brewers, I don't know if they just read us good. They must have had a good scouting report. I mean, I know they did because they obviously knew what to expect from Severino. And on top of that, I think they're one of the more patient batters in the league. They actually do a great job in taking pitches and drawing walks. That's what's a big part of their lineup and how they get guys on base. Instead here, they decide to jump on Severino and get him in hot water early on. He starts shaking, whatever, buckles down a little bit, strikes out Mitchell in a battle, 7-pitch at bat there, but then walks Adames. Okay. Bowers fouls out, but then he hits Rhys Hoskins. So it was like bases loaded, fucking 2 outs, excuse me. Rhys Hoskins gets plunked, dude. Obviously lets his elbow stay in there a little bit, but I mean, that's a baseball play, whatever. But then Fruick obviously grounds out there. You're thinking 2-0. Oh, dude, like at first I'm watching this game like, all right, you know what, dude, it's 1-0, just 2 outs. Let's just get this batter out here at the plate, ground out, strike out, doesn't matter how. And then it's a 1-run deficit. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. But then you're down 2-0 and you're just like, damn, dude, like, I think Sevy had like a 35 or maybe like 25 pitch inning too. Like, you're just like not like, again, things were looking like they were going to get late early for the Mets here. But wouldn't you know it, dude, they answer right away. Top of the second here, leadoff single for Mark Vientos. Alonso gets walked. Then just like that, Peralta in a little bit of hot water here after the first inning. He looked like he was going to be untouchable. But Winker right there, RBI triple, scores Vientos and Alonso, dude. That was a huge play by Winker. That was honestly a huge decision by Mendoza to put Winker in the DH spot. I mean, past few games, Martinez has been doing really well. And I think they said on the broadcast, I think Winker was like 3 for 38 in September.
Yeah, didn't have a
Like,
good September.
didn't
And
at all.
then, going with the grizzled vet off the bench, for a rookie
Yeah.
manager. I mean, it's a good move.
It's a great move, dude.
Big spot, blew the game open.
And yeah, certainly. So that makes it 2-2 just like that. And I mean, that answer, again, Brian, you asked me about, big moments in the game. That was very close to it. Cause I mean, Rick and Dave were talking about it. At this point, you've been flying back and forth, Milwaukee, Atlanta, the rain delays, the uncertainties, the doubleheader, the quick trip back to Milwaukee. Like, if you go down 2-0 early and you sit there for a few innings, your morale in the dugout is just going to get picked away at every inning. But to have this quick answer was absolutely huge. I don't know if you saw it too. Winker started talking shit.
Dude,
Dude,
I missed that part.
Absolutely hilarious. To be honest, I guess Contreras, at this at bat when he was catching, he rubbed his hand on the far right side of the batter's box to make it seem like he's gonna go to the inside of the strike zone, but really he was still framing up to the outside. And I guess that's what pissed Winker off, because obviously the ball ends up being kind of low and away. Winker does rope it down the line, first base line for the triple, and he's just talking shit as he's running. Clearly something pissed him off. And I guess maybe Adames he started talking shit to, because he was like, fuck you, whatever, as he was passing Adames to go to third base. He started talking shit, and then he was yelling at the dugout. He's yelling at the Mets dugout. It was actually crazy. But obviously, again, talk about having that catalyst, having that gritty attitude, talking shit, really riling up the dugout. And then, not to mention, you just tied the game on top of that. I mean, you're talking about a total, newfound feeling to this game. And that's the way it kind of went. I mean, after the inning was over, Severino comes out and buckles down here. After that, 24, 25 pitch first inning, comes out in the second, gets Ortiz to ground out. Turang does double, but then Trio and Contreras, he retires back to back, gets out of there, holds the lead. And then things kind of just settle for a little bit. Peralta settles just like Severino does. But I mean, this bottom of the fourth here does get into some more trouble here for Sevy. Just like the first inning, to get that leadoff double, that absolutely kills him, obviously. Giving off a leadoff double does strike out Ortiz. Turang reaches an infield single, which you kind of hate to see. But regardless, after that, Trio does hit a single, which scores Frelick. So that ties up the game. And Contreras ground out to shortstop. There was no play at home. Turang does score there. So it makes it 4-3, gets Mitchell to line out. That ends the inning. So a little bit of a lull. But again, I mean, you talk about the answer right away. Here we go, top of the fifth. This is where it is. And you notice that this was a kind of a big deal here. Milwaukee, did end up pulling Peralta. And there was, a point during the press conference, and I guess their manager didn't realize, his name has escaped me right now, the freaking chubby bald dude. Regardless, I guess he didn't realize Peralta retired 9 or 8 batters in a row. And he just he didn't know that. He was like, oh, I didn't know that. That can't be right. And it was right. But then you pulled your pitcher, who was dominating,
That's kind of shot.
It is kind of shot. So again, clearly he's, maybe following a script, looking at the pitch count, not really necessarily looking at each at bat. Because again, I mean, Peralta still looked like he could pitch another inning, no doubt. But in the grand scheme of things, obviously we're out here for the Mets.
Manny Acton, is that the manager?
No.
I'm looking it up now. It is Pat Murphy.
Pat Murphy.
Yep.
Irish. Regardless, he goes to the bullpen, and it does not really work out here. But we talked about, again, the amazing play of the Mets here. You think about that, Marte flies out. Taylor does double, but then Alvarez flies out. So man on second, 2 outs here. And you think, all right, I mean, kind of maybe a wash here, but Payamps here walks Lindor in a 5-pitch at bat there. And then the Iglesias reach on the infield single, an absolute drooper to Rhys Hoskins. And there was no play at the plate. The pitcher came over, I guess, a little late. It was a tough throw, but Iglesias, got to give him some credit, using his legs, diving to tag up on first base, which is really impressive. He was safe. And that was huge. Not only kept the inning alive, it scored Taylor, tied the game. And then obviously our boy Pat Murphy gets a little antsy, brings in Ashby, and that really doesn't do him any good because Nimmo reaches Viento RBI single to right. He was pumped up. scores 2, 6-4, just like that. And then you get Alonso intentionally walked. Martinez comes in for Winker. Again, great move here from Mendoza because Martinez ropes a 2 RBI single, making it 8-4. JD after that, Marte gets walked. They bring in Mears. He doesn't get the final out of the inning, but obviously at that point, I mean, the damage was done. It's 8-4, and then Sevy can come out with less pressure on his shoulders. It was 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. Comes out in the 6th again, 3 up, 3 down. I mean, the 5th and 6th inning for him were just phenomenal. Again, I was saying before too, it was looking like he was going to be 4 and done for you. You burned some of your bullpen. But no, he really guts it out, dude. And he does figure it out. I mean, you want to look at those, last 2 innings too. I mean, he was going a lot to the off speed, which is, his fastball was being hit early on. Those last 2 innings, you're looking at those ground outs and fly outs coming from sinkers and sweepers. Didn't really throw a lot of the fastball. And I guess that was enough to kind of fool the lineup of the Brewers and get him through 6, which was great. We do end up getting Buteau here, which is great. Gives us 2 innings, retires 6 in a row. So bullpen absolutely killed that. I think the bullpen got, I forget how everybody, but they retired every other batter. I mean, your bullpen was flawless. Static comes in the 9th, 3 up, 3 down. I mentioned it was 8-4. That was your final scoring. And I mean, you got to be so stoked. You didn't use Diaz. You didn't use Anavito. You only used Buteau and Static, dude.
Yeah.
And they were flawless. So let's fucking go.
Little bullpen reset.
Yeah,
now,
dude.
Do you think, because it was 40 pitches for Diaz on Monday, you think he's available today?
I think he would be available.
Yeah.
But if it's a non-save situation, we'll probably throw in Reed Garrett, I would imagine.
Garrett, yeah. Yeah. So, big when you could get the bullpen to rest.
Yeah.
And kind of interesting. Obviously, it was helpful. Sevy, gutted those last 2 innings. But, moving forward, and let's assume you get to the next round, are you confident in him starting a game, or is he kind of low on your totem pole?
I mean, in terms of the hierarchy, I would rather have Quintana and Minaya.
And
then Sevy.
Who else is there though? I mean, McGill.
Peterson.
No, but I feel like Sevy almost is bullpen.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe this is just me being a Met fan, but again, those last 2 innings I thought were freaking ridiculous.
No, they were. But also, let's say again, it would be Phillies. I don't even know what his numbers are against the Phillies, but I would imagine he hasn't pitched well against them.
No, but it's interesting because Minaya starting against the Phillies wasn't great. Peterson got popped against the Phillies.
McGill. Did he have it?
I don't think he had a great start against the Phillies.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe who has, but
exactly. But I just think at this point too, I mean, again, Rick and Dave are also talking about it too. I mean, the amount of pressure that's almost been lifted off of the Mets at this point for making it the wild card. And then again, if you do end up going to the divisional series, I mean, I think there is a certain weight off their shoulders in terms of at this point, just everything is we're playing with house money sort of deal. And I think Sevy, I think he was just nervous, honestly, dude.
Once again, is it 11th? Was this his 11th career?
Yeah, 11th. But it's just I think just a big spot, obviously a lot riding on his shoulders. Game 1 of the wild card series. I think if you see him in the divisional series, whether it's game 1 or not, I think you see a little bit more of a calmer, more settled down what you saw in the 5th and 6th inning here rather than what you saw in the 1st inning.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see though what they decide to do there. It'll be Minaya versus who today?
Montas, Frankie Montas.
And I believe we got a couple comments trickling in here, huh?
Oh,
did you get to Michael's chirp or no?
No, I got to nothing. I was in the zone. Okay,
gotcha.
But let's go. It's
something about a here we go again.
Yeah, he says, here we go. Mets going to get their hearts broken again, LMAO.
I was actually surprised because I don't know if maybe it's because I personally have kind of dialed things back, but I feel like most of the season, Michael was kind of in defense of you.
Yeah, listen, dude, he was texting me updates. He was listening to the game on the radio while I was watching it here.
So he's just messing.
Yeah. He's just trying to poke the bear a little bit. Again, at this point, like I said, obviously there's wild card series games to be played here, but you're stoked about game 1 here. You are excited. I don't believe they're going to lose the next 2 games. I believe they're going to make the divisional round at this point. I mean, the stats are there. The team looks great. And we have our best pitchers coming up. Like Severino was not our best pitcher by any means. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's all out in front of the Mets right now to take game 2 here and finish it off. But obviously we'll see. But then at that point, I mean, I think whatever the outcome is at the end of the year, I wouldn't say that any Met fan should have their heart broken,
Yeah. But I mean, obviously
you're rooting for like World Series victory.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely, dude. But
and it's just been a while since you've had a run. So you want to take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of you.
Dude.
Yeah.
And then Josh B here says you gotta learn how to control your emotions, man. Obviously, Josh B, the epitome of controlling emotions.
Funny, I feel like him and Kev like try so hard to like get some like normal thoughts and sayings from Matthew Ryan, but it's like, guys, it's not happening. I mean, come on.
Says I'm being realistic.
But right though or no? I don't think it's realistic. That Matthew Ryan is going to change his ways is more of what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, I don't think so, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely not happening, especially as the Mets continue to win games, dude. Kev, your hamstrings must be brolic.
Kev always says these like ridiculous things that we don't know what he said.
You are now backpedaling on the shit he was talking about the Mets, dude. Oh, I see what's going on. Regardless, Moises Montalvo in the house. What's up, Moises? You should fear the Mets, he said. Oh, my God. I think it is time. I mean, the Brewers should definitely be fearing the Mets. If I'm the Phillies, I would be a little scared, to be honest, as well. I mean, you didn't do well in that series. It seems like that the Mets would give you a good fighting chance in a divisional round. So
against the fighting Phils. So would be interesting if we get that.
It would be. Josh B, tight. You're never realistic. Nick in the house. Thanks for joining us. Says, do you need an intern? I'm a sports and econ major, senior in college. LOL. Roll Pioneers. I guess this is it must be a Sacred Heart student.
Oh, I thought it was one of your students.
I don't think so. I mean, I do have a couple Nicks in my class, but I don't think a Yidimian.
Maybe
I don't know.
Riley Domac.
Maybe pass it along. Yeah, definitely. You can email us downtowntvnetwork at gmail.com. Let's see. Matthew Ryan, Kevin Taylor, you let a hot team in the playoffs. They could win it all. Oh, let's go Brewers.
Let's go Yankees.
No. Matthew Ryan doesn't care about that. Obviously,
well, I'm saying
it. No. But Matthew Ryan's not saying it, dude.
What Matthew Ryan wants. That's what I'm saying. Anyhow, we'll get to game 2 of the Mets here in a second, but let's just go over quickly what we saw in the other games yesterday, starting with the first game of the day, the Michael K special in Houston.
Here we go, baby.
Saw Tariq Skubal pick up his first career postseason win, 6 shutout innings, only allowed 4 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. He was opposed by Framber Valdez, who didn't make it out of the 5th, scattered 7 hits over 3 in 3 runs over 4 1/3 innings. So wasn't great, wasn't what they were looking for. And for the most part, the Tigers bullpen holding it down here. Vest, Holton, and Foley combining to go 3 innings and giving up 1 run and only 3 hits and striking out 4. So that's what you need to do. And, with Skubal going and being how much better he is than the rest of the Tigers pitching staff, you had to take advantage of him starting. They did. And it was kind of interesting continuing the theme for Kev. So, Rogers did have a single in the second to make it 1-0, but former Yankee farmhand and first-round pick, Trey Sweeney,
wow, dude.
with an RBI single to score, I think it's Parker Meadows in the second. So that made it 2-0. Vierling with a single made it 3-0. In the 9th, Houston 1 run there with a Diaz single. And I mentioned to you before the show, you had Jason Hayward up, bases loaded, 2 outs. A grand slam would have won the game. Rips it, but right at Spencer Torkelson.
Rips it, dude.
The Tigers here.
They're really jamming it in here
with a playoff win in their playoff debut. First time in 10 years that they've been in the postseason. First game back, and they win this game. I mean, I think a huge win for Detroit. Today could get a little murky, Tony, but I think they've put themselves in an outstanding position here, taking game 1 in Houston.
I mean, yeah, this was exactly what we kind of drew up that the Detroit Tigers here would need to do to make it competitive here. Skubal is your ace. I mean, he's your best pitcher by far. You need to be winning those types of games. He did exactly that. I mean, he definitely put up exactly what you needed to. Bullpen took care of the rest for the most part, and your offense scored enough to get the job done. But like you said, I expected to get a little hairy, I think, for the Tigers today.
Well, one thing I'm
Um,
questioning is, former Astro manager AJ Hinch, obviously the Tiger manager, going with an opener today. A guy that actually pitched yesterday, only got one out. Holton, I believe is the name, up against Hunter Brown here. I don't know if, you look at their options. I mean, they don't. Tyler Holton did very well out of the pen for the Tigers this year. 2.1 ERA, 77 strikeouts, whip under 1. But I don't know if that's the right strategy here. Why do you think they? I mean, other than obviously you don't have a ton of starters, other than Scubal you're excited about. But what do you think about them going with the opener, and maybe they'll have one of those starters be like a bulk pitcher in this game? But what do you make of that call there?
I mean, I kind of like it, to be honest. I think AJ Hinch knows that in order to win another game, he's going to have to get creative. And like you said, I mean, the rotation really isn't necessarily there. I mean, Reese Olson, he had 22 starts this year, 3.5 ERA. I don't know. I guess didn't give up a lot of long balls, but nonetheless, isn't like a dominant pitcher. Doesn't have a ton of strikeouts in terms of comparison to his innings pitched here. Casey Mize is somewhere in a similar boat, and then with a worse ERA. So I don't know. I kind of like maybe using a bullpen guy to start. Keep the Astros lineup on their toes, having to adjust, like you said, maybe bringing in a starter for like bulk relief or something. I kind of like that. Like I said, it seems like Hinch knows he has to get creative, so he's trying something different to get the Astros lineup kind of on their heels a little bit. And I mean, again, I think that's what he's going to have to do if he don't want us to win these games. So whether it works out or not for him, I think just playing it heads up or whatever, putting out your next best pitcher isn't going to get the job done either. So, what do you think? Do you like the move or not?
Well,
really?
I guess. I mean, your bullpen's been good. I would think what I'm thinking maybe too is this is to prevent whoever is going to be, whether it's Olsen or Mize or Faedo, from having to face the top of the Houston lineup in the first inning. That's what I'm guessing. And then they're just going to come in after that. So I guess in that regard, it makes sense instead of having to face Altuve, Tucker, Alvarez, maybe he starts with Bregman, Diaz, and Pena, a little lighter, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, regardless, that pitcher's going to have to face them no matter what. So, I mean, it should be interesting to see how it pans out for them, dude.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But definitely quite the story. And, they had such small postseason odds, into the last couple of months of the season to be able to pull it out really is remarkable. So we'll see what they do. So game 2, 2:30 today on ABC. Michael K once again. Detroit plus 150 here. Hunter Brown towing the slab for Houston. Got off to that terrible start in April and has been lights out ever since. So be interesting to see how this one plays out as Houston fighting for their playoff lives today. So we'll have to see what happens. In another low scoring game, as low as you could pretty much get. Royals 1-0 in Baltimore. Sean McDonough must have been riled, Tony. Cole Reagans, I think, left with a hammy injury or a calf injury. I think it was a calf injury, actually, but gave him 6 innings. Good enough for the win. 4 hits allowed, no runs, obviously. 8 strikeouts, no walks. Outdueling Corbin Burns, who went 8 innings. Gave up that 1 run. Only 3 strikeouts, but 5 hits and 1 walk. Should have been good enough, but the Oriole offense dormant, only 5 hits, just really, really struggled to, get anything going. 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, the Royals get their 1 run on a Bobby Witt Jr. single in the 6th, and their bullpen takes them the rest of the way. Lucas Ekkreg, I guess is how you say it, or Earkeg. I don't know.
You got me, dude.
Picks up his first career postseason save. So I mean, what'd you make of this one? I mean, once again, we've seen these Oriole bats struggle. Obviously, Kansas City didn't rip the cover off the ball. But they find themselves, in a better spot here. Seth Lugo looking to close it out today, matched up by Zach Eflin. I thought this would be a sweep, and I think after today's game, it will be. What do you think about the Royals here?
Yeah, no, it definitely is possible here. So again, you like your odds with Lugo. In terms of this game, though, the Royals just got the job done at the end of the day. Listen, you love the grit by Reagans. The bullpen did great. Witt obviously coming up with that huge hit. That's what you expect. If anyone would score, it'd be him from the Royals lineup. But geez, dude, the Royals got to figure it out, dude. I don't know if it's just did the same thing happen last year in the postseason? They had no offense, right? You got to figure it out, dude.
Rangers,
this is again, like last year they were the young, haven't been here in a while team. Now coming back, and it's like you're expecting more from them. You certainly are. And again, especially guys like from I know Mullins had 2 hits, right? That's great. He's been great and everything, and he's definitely one of the older guys, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's tough, dude. It really is. They got to figure it out here. Gunnar Henderson, Santander 0 for 4, Mountcastle 0 for 3, like Rutschman 0 for 4. This isn't like. Reagans is great. Don't get me wrong, but your best guys in the lineup should be getting on base at the very least.
Yeah.
So they got to figure it out. Like if they want to win, they're gonna have to get hits. And you have another good pitchers at a stellar year out of Seth Lugo starting today. So it's like
And Eflin, I guess his numbers for Baltimore are pretty good, but I don't know. I just never have taken him
Zach
seriously.
Eflin, never, dude. Yeah, exactly.
That has 76 innings, 400.
Literally, dude. So and again, if you can pitch as well as Corbin Burns can. If you're not scoring, that totally blows it, dude. I feel so bad for Corbin Burns. He really put it all out there. I guess his ERA was great at the end of the year, but he had some little ups and downs sort of deal throughout the year as any pitcher would. But he literally gave you the best start you could ask for out of a pitcher, and he comes up with a loss. It's tough, dude. It really is.
Yeah.
So they got to figure it out.
So a lot on the line there. Final game of yesterday, we saw Michael King in his first career postseason start, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, Tony, 12 strikeouts through 89 pitches. That slurve had so much bite in the fastball up in the zone. And you mentioned it, before the show, just how well he's pitched this year, with the 200 plus strikeouts. And the ERA under 3. Really answered the call yesterday for the Padres. And they got enough offense here right away, actually. First inning, Rise with the single, Tatis with the homer, absolutely launching it to left center, 417 feet. So that made it 2-0. Higashioka with a sac fly in the second made it 3-0. And then Higashioka, who had a career, I believe, 19 home runs this year or 16 home runs, something like that. With his first career postseason home run, left center, made it 4-0. And then Adam and Suarez getting the job done in the pen. And the Braves, I think from the start, were really doomed here. With no Sale, you go with AJ Smith Shaver, or how do you know how to say it?
Shaver.
AJ Smith Shaver. Kind of a weird spelling though. Only gives him 4 outs and gives him 4 hits and 3 runs. Chris Sale, maybe it's a completely different ball game, but that really set them back. They did have 7 hits, but 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position, 7 left on base. So that's not good enough. And they find themselves facing elimination today. They're going to go with Max Fried against Joe Musgrove today. That'll be the night game once again. But back to this game for a second here, especially with San Diego. I mentioned to you best record in the whole league second half of the year. Seems like they're pretty dangerous between what they have on offense, what they have in the bullpen, and the rotation. Isn't bad either. They also have Dylan Cease, who would pitch game 3 if there was one here. But Michael King has been unbelievable this year.
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely phenomenal. I haven't seen every one of his starts, but from what I've seen, this is probably one of the best ones of his season. Obviously 5 hits, but no earned runs, no walks.
17 home runs for Higashioka.
12 Ks, dude. I mean, talk about dominance. Inefficient too, 7 innings, 89 pitches
probably could have
thrown,
pitched
dude.
the 8th. I think they're like, we
Why?
got a multi-run lead. We don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. We're right. Totally, rightfully so here. And I mean, we talked about it too before the show. Tatis is just such a certain type of energy that he brings to this game. First inning home run electrifies the stadium. And I mean, you said it too. I mean, Braves without Chris Sale, there is no, wind in their sails. Okay, dude. So they got to figure it out. I know the injuries have been really tough for the Braves and everything like that. But right now, down 1. I mean, it's not looking good. You mentioned what the rotation is coming up here for the Padres. Even if the Braves can squeeze out, a game 2 victory here, which is unlikely. I mean, you scored, no offense yesterday, dude. So
lack of offense.
Not good at all. Really, none of you guys stepping up. You mentioned 7 men left on 0 for 5 with runners in scoring positions. You had, quite a few opportunities to at least level out this game. But I mean, it just was all for naught. And I mean, not for nothing besides Tatis. Obviously, Higgy was the other scorer here in the lineup. But I mean, Jake Cronenworth, he's known to put one out every so often. You got Bogarts in there. Machado was 0 for 3 last night. Profar, who we know of his good year, and Luis Rise, who had a hit, but again, he can put one out very easily. Any one of these guys can get hot tonight, and then you're kind of sitting there in some big trouble if you're from Atlanta. So
boy, Padres team, man, we've seen them, really underwhelmed the last couple of years. And you think, they traded away Soto. How good are they going to be? But clearly they got a good package back. Higashioka, I mean, a career high in home runs and obviously doing well behind the plate. And Michael King, I mean, one of the best starters in the National League this year. This team is dangerous. And they would match up against the Dodgers, which are we setting up for that Dodger disappointment once again? I mean, Ohtani has been unbelievable. And historically the Dodgers have dominated the Padres, but this year it was very close. I forgot what the season series was.
I don't know.
But I know it was close.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you want to look at the pitching matchups. I would think that the Padres have the advantage there, which is huge.
Yeah.
Especially in the postseason, especially given what we've seen from the Dodgers in the postseason too. Because I mean, if whoever they put out there is giving up 6 runs, it doesn't matter how many home runs that, Ohtani's not gonna hit 3 home runs every freaking game,
Right.
So, they'll have to definitely figure it out if the time, if it comes to that. But it is looking like it will, dude. I mean, the Padres, you mentioned, super hot right now, getting over multiple obstacles, even just Tatis alone. I mean, the whole steroids thing, the injury and whatnot.
I mean, he looks in prime form.
He does.
Right?
He is, right? You can tell by the way he's playing. He certainly has been. So I think it's pretty tremendous here. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out here. And you do kind of feel a little bit bad for the Braves. Again, speaking yesterday, obviously maybe feeling a little bit more of the effects from the doubleheader, tired, the travel, the quick turnaround for the games. I mean, that I'm sure played a factor.
And then I don't know, maybe if they had Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley, maybe that would make a difference as well.
Absolutely.
So, but I think, Max Fried starting, I mean, gives them, an opportunity, later this evening. So, you never know with Musgrove. I mean, he had some good starts after coming back from injury, but didn't put together a complete season. By the way, Padres did win the season series 8-5 over the Dodgers.
There we go, dude. Pretty decisively, you could say.
Right now, if you had to say they match up, who would you take? Best of 7.
Best of 7?
And best of 5. Best of 5. Yeah.
Okay. Best of 5. I mean, I'm taking the Padres, I think.
Right? I just feel like more complete team. I mean, I know, the Dodgers, Ohtani, Freeman, but that pitching
is just so different. I mean, I have to, maybe dive deep a little bit more into what the bullpens will be looking like. But again, you would imagine all these pitchers like Cease, King, even Musgrove. I mean, you would imagine they're going to have pretty solid starts, 6-7 innings. So I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Great matchup. But right now, I would say give me the Padres.
And then Mike Schilt at manager. I mean, that's something you probably forgot about, Tony.
Honestly, definitely was, dude. Someone who is a grizzled vet, you could say, in the managerial position, has had postseason runs, has had multiple different, superstars on his Cardinals team. So, again, I think maybe that pickup of Schilt is paying dividends, dude, right now.
What game other than the Mets, because obviously that would be the answer of all of the games, but of the other three, what game are you most intrigued by today?
Most intrigued by, that's very interesting. Definitely not Tigers Astros. I guess I would still go with Braves Padres, to be honest. It'd be very interesting to see how Max Fried responds.
Like, you would think he'd have a good game, and you don't know if you can cut him much growth, but how are the earlobes
exactly,
looking?
Dude.
And then
like
the Braves offense. Can you count
can
on
you count
the
on them
Braves
right
offense?
now? I would imagine so, dude. You know, maybe they'll settle in a little bit, get some hits, score some runs here. Max Fried, though, I mean, he's someone who, you know, I was watching him pretty closely on my fans team. Like, tail end of his season here in September, late August, like, wasn't great for him at all. So it should be interesting to see what happens. But I mean, I think that's the best matchup, you know? I mean, yeah, I think it's the most like up in the air matchup for me. I think so. What about you?
Now I'm gonna actually say the Astros game, because it seems like, I mean, way better starting pitcher. They don't have to go a bullpen game, but the offense didn't look good, and the Tigers just are on this run. All the momentum from yesterday can't carry them over today. And like I said, it does seem like the Astros run of all these championship series, you know, seems like it's due to come to an end. So that's kind of what my thoughts are. And before we get to the frenzy, let's catch up on the comments center now, or we're just not doing those.
No, we can get up in the comments. Yeah, dude. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on here.
Michael.
Michael, talking shit to that kid Nick. They're ways asked for internship live when the show is not one of them.
Give it to him straight, right?
Yeah, I mean, there it is, right out there, laid out for you, dude. So you're fired before you even hired. Let's go Yankees. We need a World Series now.
Go. Fuck the Astros.
Of course,
Astros
yeah. Here we go. Astros will lose. Moises in the house says, if we do go to the next round, being the Mets, I feel good playing the Phillies. Took 3 of them in 3 to 4 in the last series. Absolutely right, dude. That's what I was kind of alluding to before. But Matthew Ryan, of course, is coming out here. Your Mets need to be out because the Yankees deserve the World Series. Let's go Tigers. F the Astros. I hate them all for the pain they caused the Yankees in past postseasons. And then he says F Baltimore. They hate Matthew. Moises says Mets sweep the Yankees. Remember the regular season. Let's go. Absolutely. How could I forget? Matthew Ryan now talking more shit. Yankees will dominate. Hopefully we'll see. I'm always down for a Subway Series. Absolutely. And Moises says the Braves are lucky the Mets let them go to the next round. That is true. I figure if the Mets did play that second game, it probably would.
Right, but I mean, you're not. Dude. I mean, it would have been.
Oh no, it would have been ridiculous. Yeah, it would have been idiotic. And then Josh B here, this is really, I guess, more towards you. Hickey greater than Trevino. What do you think, dude?
Or who would have thunk? Meaning, like,
who? Like, it's an obvious. Like, he doesn't care what you think. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you really think about it, just because of what Trevi did earlier in the year with letting all those base runners go and how he hasn't really hit the past couple months.
That's right.
Starting job. Not that Hickey's great, but I think he's done a solid job for San Diego. So listen, I like though that letting Higgy go opened up the spot for Wells, and I know he's struggled a little bit recently, but I think he's our catcher for the foreseeable future here, and I'm excited about that. Moises also saying, want to see the Braves go home, LOL.
Yeah.
Would you say in the wildcard round, they're the team that you want to see go home the most, or no?
No.
The other 3 series, Tony. I know, yes, the Brewers, of course you want to see them go home.
Honestly, I would like to see the Padres go home, I guess.
Really? Oh, just so you don't
because I have to fucking play them. Yeah, dude. Definitely.
Really looking ahead there, huh?
I always do, dude.
I would definitely say the Astros for me. Just because, like I said,
right, of course, the hatred
is enough. I mean, yes, it's compelling to get that chance to knock them off, but I wouldn't mind.
Would you be nervous if you play in Detroit?
Okay, I'm just trying to think about this. So if the Royals win, Tigers win, it's the Yankees and the AL Central left in the American League.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy, dude.
Works for me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the AL Central, historically.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. But I'm so excited. But for now, Tony, it is time for a Wednesday edition Major League Baseball Wild Card Frenzy Game 2s today. All Game 2s.
Yep, all Game 2s. And by God, are they going to be exciting? You know, all of these teams here are going to be at risk of being sent home. Who's it going to be? Game 1, let's go 2:30 p.m. ABC. Michael K here on the call.
Not on the radio.
Not on the radio with Mr. Frazier here. Detroit naturally plus 150 over 7.5 for your Tyler Holton here. We talked about the pitching matchup, Hunter Brown. We talked about the implications here. Riley Green, Brian's favorite. I don't know, though, dude. This is going to be for me. I'm going to take Astros here, game 2. I know you're probably thinking the other way, but I'm thinking bounce back, Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman. I think it's going to be early and often here for the Stros. Tigers going to their bullpen early. Probably punting on this game to not waste their bullpen, to be honest, for game 3. I say Astros handily take this one. I'll say 6-2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's what they're thinking. Just because why go to a bullpen game? I know you could bring in your starter after whatever.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to take care of business today, and I think they will. And I know, like I said, odds are against it. Hunter Brown really had a great, last couple of months here. But I just think there's the Tigers, man. It's like this run that they're on, and it seems like they're up for this challenge, and it seems like they're ready for a divisional series matchup against the Cleveland Guardians. So that would be a good divisional matchup. But I'm going to say Astros bats stymied once again. Detroit, just enough offense. I'm going to say another 3 runs today, but a shutout. Houston, not in the ALCS for the first time since 2016, Tony. Tigers and the under, plus 150 on the money line.
Take it, baby. A couple shekels. Brian, elated no Stros, baby. All right, let's go here. Next game, 4:30 now. Back here on ESPN, Baltimore Royals. You know the deal. Kansas City underdogs, plus 130. Over-under 7.5. Seth Lugo, Zach Eflin. We mentioned what we think about these two pitchers here. And honestly, I know we both said Royals in 3. But I think we're going to see a sweep here today at this point. I mean, just because of the way that game one ended up, the lack of offense, a 1-0 victory, you'd imagine Lugo puts up something similar to Reagan's. And, I mean, I just don't really see it in Eflin. I think Bobby Witt could have 2 home runs this game easily. Again, I mean, maybe it's like a 3-0, 3-1 game. Lugo goes fucking flawless. Bullpen, nothing crazy. I say Royals take this, send the Birds home. Dean, not happy. Kansas City 4, Baltimore 2, Royals in the under.
I'm going to also echo those sentiments and backtrack what I said originally. I just think the Orioles, for whatever reason, they're just not ready for the postseason right now. I think Eflin will actually get knocked around. I think Seth Lugo, 7 scoreless. And I actually think this is a 5-1 game. The Royals and the under, and Michael Wacha, Garrett Cole, Saturday night in the Bronx.
There we go, dude. All right, so let's go next game here. The best game. We're going 7:30 p.m. primetime ESPN Milwaukee game 2. You know the deal. And I know it's like, hey, the Brewers have been good. They're hard to put away. They have one of the best bullpens coming out of the NL. But there's just something about this Met team right now. Just feel like something special is happening, Brian. The way they're winning these games, the way the pitching matchups end up, I mean, you feel pretty good. Obviously, Manai didn't do great in Milwaukee. Last time out, didn't even last 4 innings, but handled Philly, handled Washington, Toronto, all down the stretch of the season. So you'd imagine he's earning for that bounce-back start against the Brewers. Brewers on their heels. Frankie Montas, you never know what you could get. Has pitched well, but you never know. Could get popped. And I'm going to say exactly that. We're going to see a Tatis-like performance from Francisco Lindor. I think first inning, he put ones out. Puts the Mets on the board, 1-0. Manaea settles, and they start tacking runs on slowly but surely here. Vientos has been hot. You don't know who you're going to see the DH spot. Could be Winker, could be JD. I wouldn't be surprised if it is JD for the game 2 here, but you never know. If it's Winker, I won't complain. Regardless, the DH player will play a factor here. Alvarez, his patented RBI double, I'm sure, maybe in the 7th inning to put the Mets up. I'll say maybe 4-1. Bullpen comes in, closes it out. Doesn't need Diaz. Saves him for the next divisional series. Mets put it away in the books. Book it, Brian. They win this game 5-2. It's going to be Mets. It's going to be your under. And there's going to be a big party in Flushing, Queens.
You know, and looking at this game, I mean, Minaya, we kind of talked about it, was due for that clunker, had it last time. Now, potential elimination game for the Brewers here. I think they're going to be fired up, ready to go. They know that one play there in the fourth inning really changed the whole narrative of the game.
That's right.
So I think this one they'll be, fired up for. And also, last time the Mets were in the wild card round, they were the only series that went the distance. I think history repeats itself here. I think Minaya shellacked 5 earned through 4 innings. Montas striking out 12 over 6. And I think the Brewers win game 2 to force that proverbial game 3 by the score here of 7-3. It's the Brewers, and it's the over.
Next game here. We're going 8:30 now. Our final game, Braves-Padres. You know the deal. We alluded to it. I think Braves potentially get blanked here yet again, ladies and gentlemen. Max Fried, honestly, maybe a serviceable quality start. 6 innings, 3 earned runs, maybe 2 earned runs. Doesn't matter, though. The Padres, the offense, Musgrove holds it down. Okay, maybe mirrors the start of Max Fried, which is very possible here. Musgrove, solid pitcher, but I think it's Machado, it's Arise, who are your 2 big playmakers here tonight. Maybe Tatis off night, maybe 2 for 4 with, a couple singles, nothing crazy. But I think it's Machado, that goes deep. Arise, I can see him getting a bases clearing triple, going 3 for 4 in the night. And I say Padres win this one. I'm going to say, I'll say 6-3 to be honest. So I think my first over, and the Padres put the Braves away.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got a grizzled vet, Joey Musgrove, going against Max Fried. This is his last start in Atlanta. It is. I think Braves bats are too cold. Padres are too hot. I think this is a 5-2 Padre win. And the Padres are headed to the division series to take on the Dodgers. The Padres and the under. And just like that, that is your wild card frenzy here on a Wednesday.
Now, I think was the Brewers-Mets series the only game you had going to game 3?
Yeah.
The only series?
Yeah.
And you think that out of any of these series, that's the most likely to go to game 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because, if you if you think about the other teams that are involved here, Orioles trending the wrong way. Astros, I don't know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem like they have the same punch that they used to. So I think it's like the wave of momentum. Tigers have been hot. I know the Royals have been struggling too, but I just think, I don't know. I just have more confidence in them than the Birds. And I think Seth Lugo is really relishing this opportunity. Probably his biggest start since he won that clinching game in the World Baseball Classic way back when, Tony.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's been his desires to be a great starting pitcher, and he finally is that. So I see where you're coming from, but oh my gosh, there's a game 3 with the
not gonna be able to handle it. Bullets in the chamber. Kev Dew cracking up.
Yes, dude. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, obviously, I don't think so. We're going for the sweep today, so it doesn't really matter, dude.
Yeah,
it's Minaya.
Obviously,
Minaya bounce back.
That would be great for the Mets, right?
Yeah, it would be great for the Mets, dude.
So we'll have to see, what happens there. And I guess we talked about this yesterday, but I just wanted to mention before we wrap up, it was officially made public that Adams, that is Devontae, formally requesting a trade from the Raiders. And the Raiders are open to this and seeking a 2nd-round pick. Obviously, a lot of conversation started with the Jets. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, listen, no doubt is he, he's the type of receiver, say what you will about him right now, his attitude, but if he's in a organization and a place that he likes to play for, he will play hard and he will score for you. Like he is like undoubtedly a very, very extremely talented receiver. But he just like obviously wants to be happy. And I mean, it's been, a little bit of a roller coaster for him in terms of finding a place that he can be happy for a long period of time. We always talked about him going to the Raiders for Carr. Carr's gone. What the hell, man? We got me with this freaking Gardner Minshew guy. So I don't know. I could see, why teams are maybe a little trepidatious to kind of like pander towards him because of what he asked for and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the Jets would be a good fit for him because of Rodgers. But you make a good point, Brian, what you said before the show, and in the sense where there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen,
Mouths to feed,
a lot of mouths to feed, dude. So, and there's already been a big question mark in terms of Rodgers not targeting Wilson enough, going to Lazard and Williams a lot. Especially, use Lazard as an example, not the best receiver, but again, getting a lot of targets because he knows how Rodgers plays and he knows where Rodgers wanted to be out in the field. So, I mean, that's what Rodgers likes, and bringing in Adams will certainly, you'll probably see even less touches with Wilson, because we've seen a lot of miscues between Rodgers and Wilson this year. For whatever means. But again, Wilson's certainly a talented receiver. We've seen him have big plays and good catches this year as well. But I don't know. It does kind of put a funny feeling in the back of your head if they do bring in Adams on what the receiving core is going to respond. You would hope, though, Brian, I mean, they're professionals. They're here to win games. Bringing Davante Adams does increase your chance to win games, to have a better opposition against a team like the Bills, to win the division here, to potentially make it to a Super Bowl. So if they want a second round draft pick for him, I would say, let's do it, dude.
But you're not concerned. You think, especially the fact that Saleh is the one dealing with this situation.
Yeah, well, honestly, in my eyes, it's not going to be Saleh like telling the receivers, hey, this is how it's going to go. It's going to be Rodgers being like, yo, this is what we need to do here. And
I think Ryan afraid Wilson's going to request a trade if they do that.
That'd be so fucking stupid. Okay. And honestly, dude, if Wilson does, then who the fuck cares?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's a building block of the offense.
No, of course he's a building block. But
yeah.
I mean, if you're not performing right now with an elite quarterback, what good are you? And then if you're going to cry about bringing in another receiver,
I don't think he would though. Also, he's right.
I don't think he would request a trade either.
No.
But he is. I mean, again, I don't know. Watching Hard Knocks didn't give me the best impression of him, to be honest. So I don't know. I mean, I could see him being upset with that, but I think at the end of the day, he'll respond by being upset with himself and get better at his job, which is obviously being a wide receiver for the Jets. So I think that it would be a good move for them to try and target Davante Adams. Let's freaking go, dude. I mean, this is it though. If you don't win the Super Bowl this year, dude, it's gonna be really hard to win it next year.
Now, what if, because they say the Saints are a possibility as well? Obviously, we know the connection there with Derek Carr. What if it's a bidding war? They want a second round pick next year in addition to the second round pick this year. Are you doing it? Or he's going to the Saints?
But it's if we do these two picks, they're yes, we'll do it. Let's go.
2 2s.
Yeah, 2 2s.
Nothing guaranteed after this year. So probably a short-term situation. Maybe if Rodgers goes one more, you get him for one more year, but definitely will be very short-term. But obviously, it's just the whole thing going for it.
I mean, you got to do it. You have to, right? You got to go for it.
But it's are you almost should you also pick up another offensive lineman? I mean, it's just, or do you think this group, I mean, they obviously invested a lot of money into it in the offseason, is going to get better? I just didn't like the penalties we saw last time. I know you're supposed to be your best offensive lineman in Tyron Smith.
But I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, do you think, again, penalties being the issue, don't you think that should be something they can figure out with the guys they have during practice? That going out to get a new offensive lineman because of penalty problems is there's a bigger issue there. I feel it's not just the O-line,
Yeah, I just hate that it's we're relying on, Nathaniel Hackett and Robert Saleh to, maybe the offensive line coach as well to kind of, drill that point home.
Well, listen, again, if that's the issue, then just fucking fire those guys, dude. Right? I mean, I don't oh God, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they're not.
Obviously, they're not. Yeah, they're not
We're
gonna.
talking about this in the group chat.
It's just oh my God, dude. Is that really Like if you bring in Adams and we're sitting here week 17, the coaching killed us. Like that's just fucking despicable, to be honest.
Yeah. So
they got to figure it out, dude. I mean, obviously protection would be an issue, but again, you would think also Adams, another target downfield, Rodgers getting the ball out quicker. All of a sudden now they're not rushing 4 guys, they're rushing 3 guys, and they're maybe something like that. So I mean that could help.
And you know what's interesting? I mean, this is such a big game. You're facing a guy that you drafted in Sam Darnold, a team that's undefeated, and you got some tough games coming up. I mean, this is like a really important win, and it does feel like, Tony, even though I mean, not it's not like everybody's expecting you to win this game. Minnesota's a 2.5-point favorite here, but you lose this game, go to 2-3. I mean, you think there's going to be that sense that like the sky is falling and it's like kind of panic time?
I don't think so, honestly.
I mean, Bills and Steelers the following 2 weeks.
That's hard. That is
especially
tough,
the Steelers on the road.
I feel like if you lose both, like either of those games, it's like we're not going to really make it, to be honest. Like Bills or Steelers with the loss against the Vikings. But everyone's going to say if it was against the Vikings, oh, Darnold's doing great. And it's like that weird, quirky game in London in the early morning, the time change, whatever. There's going to be the same excuse like the weather last weekend to people. But
I really think you have to win. And it's going to be tough, man. Like the Vikings
going to be really tough
so
dude.
Well.
And they're, they have a significant threat downfield, like,
and then in the backfield as well.
Like
that's really Jordan Addison, I think, had 2 touchdowns last week.
And of course,
obviously we all know about Jefferson.
Jefferson. Yeah. And like, I mean, the connection between him and Darnold has been nothing short of good. So, I mean, like, you got to appreciate that. And to be honest, dude, like, who's going to be lined up on Jefferson? You think Sauce?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, there was plays this year where it's like he's like 3 steps behind the receiver he's trying to defend, and you're like, oh man.
Boy, I have to say, I don't have a good feeling about this game.
Neither do I, dude. I mean, it's a tough spot overseas, early game, the watch party.
Yeah. Like,
I know, dude. It's going to be a really tough game to try and win. But I mean, like you said, it has to be a win, and I think the Jets could pull it off. I mean, if anyone would hopefully be, able to deflect all the noise and the nonsense of the international London series here, it would be Rodgers, I feel, right? Like, let's go.
What do you think? I know there's so many things, but I had to pick one key to the game against Minnesota to win. What is the number one thing that they need to do in order to win?
I think at the end of the day, you're going to need your offense to be bumping. And in order to do that, you got to give Rodgers some time, dude. So you need to protect him. Like, he needs time.
Quarterback.
And he looked great like the past 2 weeks, obviously not towards the last week because of, he was obviously, bottled up and the knee injury and whatever. But he was moving well, dude. He was scrambling. He was moving up in the pocket, avoiding, some rushes. But if he just had more time and more confident in the protection, I mean, you're going to see him sling the ball downfield.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to need to have in order to win this game.
And I think he hasn't had a 300-yard game in 3 years. So
get the fuck out of here.
This would be a good time for one.
This would be a great time for one. And again, you think about having that threat downfield. What does that set you up with? The little ground and pound. Like, let's get Breece Hall. Let's get Allen involved. And then it does open up your play action. Get the defense guessing. I mean, that threat downfield, giving, Rodgers time is going to be exactly how you can start your offense. And it's going to be pinnacle for victory, dude. Because I mean, the Vikings are going to score. Like, they're going to score. Probably a lot of points.
Yeah.
So
you got to, be in Darnold's face, force him into some erratic throws and throws that we saw him when he was seeing ghosts when he was quarterback of the Jets.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk more about that on Friday. Lastly, I just kind of noticed this. I was just kind of looking on ESPN.com here. A couple finalists close to home here for the Hall of Fame's Ford C. Frick Award for Excellence in Baseball Broadcasting. 2 finalists. Gary Cohen and John Sterling amongst the finalists. Skip Carey as well. I'm trying to see if there's anybody. Ernie Johnson's father, who actually passed away in 2011, also a finalist, was on the ballot last year. Joe Buck and Dan Schulman were on the ballot last year, but were dropped this year. I don't know, Tony. I mean, Could be wrong here. And it's not even a bias thing, but I think Sterling, because he's retiring, is going to get it. Right?
Yeah, I think so. But also, is he retiring?
He definitely is retiring. No, he is. He definitely. I think what it was, and it makes sense. And you got to think about it too. This is coming from somebody in their 80s, so not everything is, like they're not thinking. No, I'm just saying they might not do things in the proper way, in the I don't know, just proper order of sequence.
Mhm.
But I think Sterling's thought was he started the year, was worn out, and it's like, geez, I can't do this. But then was like thinking about it as the season went on. It's like, but if they finally get the job done this year, I want to be. I don't,
I want to be part of it. I want to be part of it. Dude.
So you get it from that point, but I think there just should have been some more playing involved. But yeah, I would say no matter what, though, he's done. He's jacked up. So just thought that was kind of interesting. And I guess other than that, is there gaming corner tonight?
The deal, dude. We're gonna have our very own Jeff, like from the Horseshoe, come in tonight.
Now
dude.
playing Kurt or
no, I believe he's bringing his Xbox. We're playing some sports games. He's into FIFA, Madden. He likes. He's not good at.
Does he have next gen too?
I asked him. He hasn't answered me yet, so we'll see.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Could be next gen. Could be not be next gen. I don't know. I would see. I would imagine he's still like on Xbox One.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Or whatever the new one is, right? The series.
So it'll be a sports
bonanza, dude. Absolutely, dude.
All right. And 7:00?
Probably closer to 7:30 because he gets out of Wakeman around 6. Go home, get the system, figure it out. Dude,
wait, I didn't. Wait, so he works at Wakeman too?
Full time. Yeah, he is there. I don't know his official title. I want to guess it's director of operations or assistant director of operations.
Gotcha.
But he's like one of the, he's the literal and figurative big man over there.
Does he still? Yeah, he still balls, right? Because I thought we were talking about that last year, or no?
Balls behind the bar. No, I don't know. Actually, maybe.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
Maybe?
Just the way he was talking about it, I don't know if it was just more than he's running that.
I could see the kids at Wakeman giving him a tough time, and then he's like, "All right, like let's go, dude." Like,
well, I'm sure if we asked him to play, he would. But boy, I wouldn't want to have to DM up. I just when people are that much taller than me, I have no shot because I can't jump.
I mean,
so it's
you got to just foul,
right? But and I'm not quick, so like, what the hell am I gonna do?
I mean, I don't know.
Extend the arm out.
Yeah,
Tony.
dude. You got to run with some sharp edge. Elbows out, dude.
Yeah, elbows out. But that'll be exciting later. So everybody tune into that. And we thank everybody for tuning in today and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay. Costume, the merch at downtimetv.com. Want everybody to enjoy the day. Enjoy the game.
Let's go Mets, baby.
And we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.